What's going on, Chris? How you doing?
Really great. How about you? It's the end of Leo time. Leo is winding down here for us. So we're seeing a major transformation as the sun advances into the earthy sign of Virgo.
What a weekend to be alive. This is one of those weekends where you don't forget about it because the energy shifts, the reality comes in. I mean, that's very simple with Virgo, but we have a cardinal cross, which if you just look up cardinal cross online, folks, these are very powerful moments, these are season shifting moments. These are big changes in people's lives. These are pressured moments usually, and they don't have to be horrible. Sometimes pressure is good. Sometimes pressure what we need in order to move water and do some certain things in life. And so I look at this as good pressure. I think this has to do with relationships. I mean, this is a weekend and a week. I mean, let's be real, Chris, right? Would you say this whole week is very dynamic?
I would say it's kind of like fireworks. Every day you're going to see a new display, new sparkly things happening. You're going to be hearing these kabooms going off in the background. I always think of the I Ching, where we're told that the supplicant should stand firm when thunder is going off all around, because you shouldn't cave in to fears that come up from the subconscious, or fears that come into play in society. And it is going to be a week when we have some fearful images that are going to be assaulting us. And so really the big thing is to recognize, and most of these fears are unfounded, but the mind likes to play the game. So, be steady, be invested in, making your way through this period, and you'll see some amazing results coming up.
Yeah, in many ways, this is kind of a course change in a lot of our lives, I feel, because we're dealing with, a reality of Virgo, which likes to reorganize things, likes to harvest time, likes to bundle up the wheat. It's important for these times. The reason why I think Virgo is so important is without bundling your wheat, you can't harvest it, and this is the stuff you eat through the winter. So, this is us adjusting our lives for what we're going to go through for a while. I mean, this is like what you adjust for, and to get the reality in check. And on top of it, this weekend with the Venus energy, that Venus in Libra, which loves to feel in harmony and feel wonderful, is under extreme stress. Extreme. You can't get much more extreme stress after this weekend. But again, I think that stress is a pressured stress that's much needed. Sometimes it's like, without that stress and without the earthquake, sometimes the plates need to shift. And I think a lot of this is our plate shifting in our life in order to connect us with the right people, in order for us to let our feelings stop having so much pressure to where we're not able to express ourselves maybe in the way we want to, or become the person that we really want to be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing about the first day of the sun moving into Virgo is that the moon is going to be advancing and connecting with Uranus in Aries and opposing Venus in Libra. So we're going to have a lot of energy here that, the Aries kind of stubbornness, the I am going to do it, come hell or high water kind of energy, and then sudden change of mind, sudden change of direction. So it may be kind of crazy making initially, though, so that first day of the sun actually settling into Virgo, which would be Saturday. Saturday may be a day when, all of the people that you're interacting with change plans on you. You have to regroup, redirect the rest of your weekend. And people are going to be very stubborn, and they're going to be a little bit aggressive, because when we have Uranus in the mix here, especially in the sign of Aries, it does bring out an edge with things. And then, of course, Virgo is Virgo. And as the sun is progressing into Virgo, it's going to be opposing Neptune in Pisces. So we're going to have a lot of tense energy, like you were saying.
Yeah, because the battle really not only happens with that Venus feel good energy, but it happens with Jupiter, which is trying to expand our lives. And that's why I bring up a course change or a course direction change, because um, Pluto's also involved, which is crazy transformation, intense transformation. And you have Uranus, which brings this unpredictability to it all. I think we can come into the weekend thinking it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and it comes out way out the camel's ass in a different direction. Number one. Number two is, with Virgo, it's very real. It makes it real. It makes the situations more real. And with Neptune opposing it, I think a lot of this is Virgo actually can be kind of controlling as far as it wants it to be a certain way. And Neptune and Pisces is, drink a beer, relax, meditate, talk to God a little bit. And as the events start to unfoil here, I think as we leave even the weekend and come into Monday, this energy is forcing us to go with the flow, trust in spirit. Do not forget about the bigger picture. Do not forget about the spiritual picture. Don't forget that the universe is realigning things to kind of push you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've also observed with my Virgo friends, and I do have a plethora of them, is that they tend to be hypochondriacs. I mean, they're always looking at their body, going, "Oh, what's wrong with this? And what's wrong with that? And oh my God, my fingernails are falling off, and all this stuff." And as the Sun is opposing Neptune, Neptune likes to take stories and distort them. So don't freak out if you are feeling a twitch or a pain over the weekend, and especially into Monday, Tuesday. You're not going to have a heart attack, but that hypochondriac kind of energy that Virgos generally channel is going to get spiked, and that Neptunian influence is going to be kind of edgy, kind of weird. So, and then of course, by Monday, we'll have Mercury in advance of the Sun, and so communication will really start to spike, and that's when you want to get out there and share some ideas and interact with people and project things that you want to accomplish into the universe, because then you'll see the results.
Yes, and it's interesting because the moon is in Taurus coming into this week, leaving the weekend, and it's this moon in Taurus that trines over to Pluto, and we have the Sun and Mercury which start to trine over to Pluto as well. So the universe is really putting some concrete into these changes that are coming our way, and I think you did an excellent job of telling people to not get too distorted, because Neptune is in that mix. Is like on the Virgo side of things, it's like, let's be real here. These are the real changes coming. This is what's really happening. Don't get too distorted. But that moon in Taurus, that grounds us Monday, Tuesday, lets you step into the week with some footing. So it's not like you're going to fall through the cracks. And especially if you're tripping out like you talked about, trust me, you won't fall through. It is then Mars leaving Cancer, which can feel very intense when Mars leaves the sign, especially as it's really excited to come into Leo and get more fire again, leave this fall energy of, Mars being at its fall in Cancer. But this is us also mustering, I think, the final amounts of energy for us to take action with in our life. I think that it is by midweek, after so many changes, that it allows us to even make more changes in our life, but more ones that I think we can control ourselves. That's also because Venus finally leaves the end of that crazy cardinal cross as Mars comes into Leo midweek. So I think things really change fast coming into the week, where you have more control, you have new situations, and you have this new course of life to start to tread on.
Exactly, and of course we've got the nodes in the spin too, and whenever you have activity involving the nodes, and of course the moon in Taurus is going to be nailing the north node there, the head of the dragon, and we've got Saturn advancing forward here, and of course the nodes move backwards. So we've got that Saturn advance toward that south node, the tail of the dragon there. So we're going to have a lot of karmic events, I think, coming up, where if you haven't been, doing your work to resolve issues from the past, they could show up on your doorstep during this coming week.
Yeah, a lot of this node prep is going to get big with Saturn conjunct the node in Scorpio. That's going to be a big deal, and that comes up here in September. So a lot of these events are really leading us towards that, and you've used the term very, very great with Saturn, that anchor. And as we're doing course changes, we're looking to find our anchor in our life, which is in our truth, which is in the energy we don't like to expose, but it's that deep, intimate connection with what we want to connect with in our lives. And it is this week that is helping you direct your life into this energy. It gives you the ability to have wet concrete and mold it into what you want. I think that's what that Neptune opposition is in order to make the reality real, don't forget about imagination. Don't forget about adding some music to it all. Don't forget about, in these moments, I think that Neptune is our saving grace through this whole week, which is don't forget about, it's okay if you need to have a beer. I mean, I don't promote that kind of stuff, but if you need to release, if you need to go take a swim, if you need to, go meditate out. For some people, they do that with a glass of wine or whatever. Take it this week because there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, this is definitely a week when you feel that need to disconnect and retreat for your own personal space and to recollect. And interestingly enough, we're watching a lot of these planets dancing backwards right now. We've got Uranus moving backwards. We've got Neptune moving backwards. We've got Pluto moving backwards. And at the same time, some of the more powerful outer planets that are, the heavy planets like Jupiter and Saturn are moving forward. So we've got a lot of stirring the pot kind of energy here. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because Jupiter is finally moving away from that hard opposition to Pluto, and Pluto is moving backwards away from Jupiter. So a lot of that tension is going to come off that we were watching the last couple of weeks here, where a lot of people were just wanting to run away and hide for a few days. So now we're going to see less challenge in those regions of our life, Capricorn and Cancer. And Cancer is all about the home, and Capricorn is all about career. So a lot of people who were feeling challenged with either home life, career life, or both are going to start to see a lightening, things gently getting better over the next few weeks. And this is going to be the time when you want to start making plans to make changes, because you've gone through the eye of the storm, so to speak.
Yeah, and the changes come intense as I think we understand why the changes happen in our life midweek as Mercury and Pluto start to trine. That's always a very powerful moment. And, Mercury in Virgo is going to make things so different because we are going to try and figure out every reason why things are happening, everything that is happening in this area of our life, and everything that's happening right here. And this Pluto in Capricorn allows us to, I think, reconstruct the plans to maybe some older plans that are being redone now. I think that we get more energy, more details to add to the plans that I think we've been working on a long time, because to bring up those retrogrades, we have had Pluto retrograding since April. And so this is, since April, almost 6 months now of us really, really digging into the plans of our life, going deeper. It is going to be in September as Pluto comes direct again, that it is important for this week, as I think that you are making the adjustments necessary as the Sun is starting to trine Pluto too, which adds for really expansion, really positive change in our lives this week. And I think that this week is what is so important to pay attention to the plans of your life that you have been replanning since April. And I'd go back to April in your calendars and go, those were crazy times. That was when all the big Aries conjunction happened. That was actually when the big bomb happened in Boston. That was a gnarly time, and we have been in a deep, deep, deep reflection of those times and getting ready to relaunch you know, a lot of our lives here, but it's these changes that help with that. And Mars in Leo, you know, I think that's going to add for a lot more excitement to these times and make this new reality much more fun to be in.
Right. And I think it's going to energize people. I think everybody's been feeling kind of sluggish as Mars moves through Cancer. And now all of a sudden we get the shift forward into a fiery energy. A lot of people are going to be wanting to get out and run more. They're going to be toning their bodies. They're going to be physically just more able to have sustained experiences during the day, and you know, to just overall enjoy that energy that is being released as Mars moves out of Cancer. But the other thing that's going to be interesting that I think is going to be worth really observing now is we have seen that Jupiter-Pluto interaction, and we've noticed that as Jupiter was moving through Cancer, which is the United States chart, you know, our sun sign, we are a Cancer nation. And Jupiter, if you will recall, as soon as it moved into Cancer, it started activating the stock market. And we would see this going up and coming down, going up, coming down. The market was all over the place. A week ago, it fell 120 points in one day, and everybody went into panic mode. But I think as we watch Jupiter continue to advance and Pluto, again, going backwards and reducing the stress, I think we're going to really see a big surge of financial activity. There's going to be a lot of growth. I think housing starts are going to be up. So I think that this is going to be a very prosperous cycle. This autumn is going to be very good for us as far as the national economy goes.
Yeah, I think the beginning part of the autumn, and then I think once Jupiter goes retrograde in October and everything starts to change in October again, like it did last October, I think that's when people are going to go, whoa. And speaking of this Jupiter energy, like you bring up, I'm not one to really enjoy Jupiter retrograde. I'll just be honest. It just kind of puts another damper to things in the show. It lets the sparkle kind of settle for a little bit, and especially because Jupiter has been very nice to us in Cancer since it came in. And it's about to go retrograde here on that first week of October, folks, so that means we have a month and a couple weeks here of sparkle. Use this energy wisely. Like, because this fall, as we do have Jupiter go retrograde, and as we do step into this winter, Mars going to go retrograde and Venus go retrograde, which are very personal planets to go retrograde. These are the times of sparkle. These months, this month right here, again, the Virgo harvest time to grab your grains and store it correctly so you eat this sparkle when there's no sparkle around this dark winter.
Yeah.
I have looked at the astrology, and this winter is dark.
Well, I think that it's, again, I think it's challenging us to go into a state of preparedness and to think in the moment and to be able to respond to unexpected events that are going to be arising. I don't see it as being really a negative thing. I do see it as being very, very personal. And
Yes.
if your thinking is leading you down a path of self-undoing, then this is going to be a rough winter. There's no doubt about it. But it's very much contingent on your vision of your reality and your capacity to project a positive outcome and to expect a positive outcome to the events in your life. Because once again, we'll always see, even under the worst set of stressful configurations in the chart, you'll always see an escape route. You'll always see a back door that opens up. You'll have one or two planets, and especially the moon. The moon always factors into it. That is the release valve. So this is going to be a time when people are going to have to use the release valve. But nonetheless, there are going to be some gains if you are really committed to making your life an optimal experience.
Yeah, and I think I need to look at the ephemeris. I think Jupiter stops in the beginning of October, and then I think it goes retrograde at the end of October. It actually goes retrograde at the end of November, so there is that extra month. But Jupiter will slow down in October, so I was
Hmm.
that month off. But yeah, it is that sparkle I think that we are in right now,
Right.
and it's you let's use this one right. I think you put it great. I didn't want to scare people saying it's a dark winter, but it's funny. That's what the bears do. I mean, they go in and it's a very personal cold winter inside, and this is going to be super deep inside of ourselves this winter. And whether you're in Australia, it's for your summer, it's going to be a very internally summer, laying on the beach in Australia with really deep inside yourself. So it doesn't matter where you are on the earth, this is going to be that. And I think it's good that we give that perception to why we're at this juncture now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as you cross that equator, you get some interesting effects from planetary aspects to different locations. And for people who are traveling this winter, it's going to be a period when travel is not going to necessarily be comfortable. You may be experiencing a lot of delays. You may be experiencing a lot of having to reprogram where you're going to end up, where you want to land. So it's going to be a very interesting winter. I think it's going to start off with an edge, but I think by March we're going to see a lot of things really calm down.
Oh yeah, and especially because Venus will be done being retrograde, and then Mars, goes direct, that spring, and then it gets out of Libra finally in the summer. So, and let's just bring up Libra to kind of end this thing before we go on the cards here. This Venus in Libra that's going to be in extreme stress over the next week. Um, pay attention to your relationships. Uh, it's interesting. I think that this can be like, wow, like crazy divorces coming out of nowhere that you really, maybe want to take that extra time right now to really like make sure that's what you want to do, because this is really crazy energy. And it's that Mars in Cancer. I think that gives us this feeling of I want to feel the way I want to, and Black Moon Lilith's there, and Jupiter's trining Chiron through this,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah.
think that there's this extreme healing to be had of how you feel, and it could be make or break it in relationships that do it, or rebooting relationships. I look at this as a rebooting and a course direction change in your relationships. I think that what happens in your partnerships can be part of the direction you're taking in your life, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship or not. I think
Hmm.
that there is a partnership very specific in all of our lives that have something to do with this week.
Right. And it doesn't always have to be an intimate relationship. Your
Yeah.
relationships in general are going to come up and be under review. So the people that are family members, the people that you're interactive with in the office or in the business place or on the job, if you're working for the highway construction crews. I mean, it's just wherever relationships are happening, there's going to be a real immediate kind of edge that you're going to have to stop and address and determine whether or not you want to continue with this association or move on. So I think we will see a lot of people shuffling over this next month as the sun moves through Virgo. We're going to see people moving from one career position to another. We're going to see people packing up and moving from one place to another. I had a good friend, Mercedes, who we connected today over at Starbucks, and she's getting ready to head out to LA now,
Oh
leaving
wow.
Chicago. And yeah, so we're beginning to see that, the migratory energy kick in. So it's going to be an interesting week, and the month, actually, the Virgo month time is going to be interesting. As far as the cards go, look at this. We're starting off this week with good old Mars energy, the Emperor. And I always caution people with this energy. It means rapid advance, but it also means that anger issues can come out of nowhere. So, don't don't challenge people because they will react and come back at you with sticks and knives. So it's a weekend to really work on keeping your cool because once again Mars is flipping over into Leo, and there's going to be tension, especially midweek. As we move into the beginning of next week, look at that, the Neptune influence and the activity of the moon. So we've got the high priestess, the subconscious, and I'm really expecting a lot of people to be talking about dreams next week. I see a lot of activity with dreams, things bubbling to the surface, old issues, snippets of past life recall. I've already had a couple of those types of dreams myself where I would wake up and recognize that, oh, I'm in this lifetime, but my dream had me very intensely connected to a past life experience. So you'll be seeing that kind of thing this next week, especially that Neptunian influence getting kicked up. But by the end of the week, we have the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. So if you survive this roller coaster ride over the next 7 days, by next Friday, you're going to really feel that settled in, grounded energy because the sun will have stopped the opposition to Neptune and be advancing to 6, 7, 8, 9 degrees of Virgo, getting nicely settled in there. You're going to have some really pleasant energy coming up the following week because a lot more groundedness going on. We'll have the sun in trine to Pluto in Capricorn, so heavy earthy energy. And people are going to be feeling more substantial, I think, next week. But this week is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Overall, for the next 7 to 10 days, the Ace of Pentacles, there are prizes to be won. And again, as the sun is moving into Virgo, this is manifestation time, like you were talking about. The grain is ready to be harvested. Everything is coming into fruition. So if you've been working the fields, if you've been cultivating your crop, you're going to be able to start seeing the rewards of that as we move through this week into the following week.
And the masculine and feminine energy has a lot to do with this. That high priestess, that emperor card, Venus and Mars now in Libra, Leo. You know, I think the guys got to be there for some of the girls this week. I'll just say it now because Venus is under a lot of pressure. So I think women are under a lot more pressure than guys. I think guys can kind of be there for support this week, and I think they should. They shouldn't have their egos out. I think they should have their hearts out on the table. So I think that's an interesting perspective to look at, and I think it was beautifully shown in the cards there as well. And that all the cards are really so on point with what's happening in this week. It's amazing. I mean, this is one of those weeks where I'm just so excited. When you brought up the past life energy I mean, I've been connecting with a lot of past life people in this last week. Oh my gosh, I can't believe to see how intense it will get this week. I think that has to do a lot with this, and I think the High Priestess card, when it comes to relationships, I think it's important to really kind of align with those kind of relationships. You know, more of that High Priestess, more of that dreamy state, more of that fantasy, more of that past energy, more of that spiritual energy, more of that pure energy. More, you know, in these relationships to come into this next round, you're definitely not going to want to be sitting next to an emperor opposed to a beautiful, hot High Priestess, whether you're a guy or a girl. I mean, come on.
Right, especially if the emperor is really pissed off. So.
Yeah, no way. And you know, that Nine of Cups is such a nice feeling. It really is. And Jupiter, I think that Nine of Cups goes really well with Jupiter as it finally comes out of that Pluto-Uranus square by the end of this week. That's right. That good feelings coming back, and it's about to do some really intense ones over the next 3 months as we come into November when Jupiter goes retrograde, because that's the peak of Jupiter coming in. And by the way, Jupiter has gone through so much, almost all of Gemini and almost all of Cancer. That is a lot of extreme growth we have gone through.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the interesting thing with this coming week is by the end of the week, we have the wish fulfillment card followed by the card of manifestation. So if you've got this vision of a better life, better income, things next week could pop up where there's these perks that arrive. Buy a lottery ticket, you know, that sort of thing.
Ooh, well, I'm so excited. I think this was our best one.
I think we're definitely seeing the chemistry here really get solidified, and so kind of having a Vulcan mind meld and sharing a lot of information. I think it's worthy. And of course, we also ask people to spread the word, share our link, and let your friends know that we've got information that might be helpful.
Yeah, especially on a week with the Sun and Mercury conjunct. I think a lot of us become real clear this week. This is one of the clearest weeks you could have of the year.
Yes, just don't be a hypochondriac and worry about your toenails for the entire week, and you'll be fine.
I know. Or the rash, you get from your deodorant or something. Who knows? I mean,
Right.
it's just like, yeah, and that's what's so funny about this reality, right? That's what I think Neptune and Pisces is teaching Virgo is like, don't take this so seriously. This reality is like it's a place for us to get things done here of our souls. But don't forget you're a soul in this,
Exactly.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah, you get so distracted by the physical experience that your spiritual life kind of withers on the vine. And this is going to pull us back away from that this next week.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to end it. Don't be one of those people. You are going to tell those people as they're going to be running outside of the cleaners, running into their car, hitting that person, flipping the old lady off. Poor old lady. Why would you flip her off? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be an edgy week, but a fun week. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you in 7 days and reviewing everything that went on.
I know. Me neither. I can't wait either. And I hope you all post your stories underneath. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks you. And can't wait to see you next week, Chris. You have a wonderful week.
You too. It's going to be a great week, so have fun. Keep me posted.
All right. Bye.